remember vividly in February of 2015 feeling very overwhelmed. I was in the gym locker room and I had just gotten off the scale, and not only was the number worse than I thought it would be, it was a lot worse, and I realized that I had to lose about 40 pounds just to not be obese anymore. And that feeling of overwhelm made it difficult to make progress on the weight loss journey. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the main areas where you may feel overwhelmed when it comes to losing weight with intermittent fasting. The first place people tend to get overwhelmed is with the prospect of picking the right intermittent fasting window. And the good news is there is no right window. There is no one-size-fits-all solution because everyone's life is just so different. I love OMAD, but it might not work at all in your life. So you have to figure out what is best for you. And the best way to just push past overwhelm and to get started is to just get started. Start out with the shortest fasting window that you possibly can, that you will consistently hit. So even if that's 8 hours, even if you sleep through it, just starting out at that point with a very short window that you can consistently hit will get you started with fasting. And then you can baby step yourself along and push it out a little further and push it out a little further. Maybe start eating a little bit later in the day. That way you can see, how is this working in your life and what are the problems, and fixing these little things as you go along, as opposed to just trying to completely overhaul your life and do something that feels really difficult. Because if you make this feel really difficult, the overwhelm will quickly come back. You always want it to feel very doable and easy. Some people do really well with a shorter fasting window and some do well with a longer fasting window. And the only way you're going to find out which type of person you are is to actually try it. There's just no good substitute for experience. The next place people tend to get overwhelmed is with trying to figure out what to eat in their eating window. And the good news is you can just keep eating what you're eating. You can't keep eating how much you're actually eating right now, but you can keep eating what you're eating. Now, even though this is one area where it's really easy to overcomplicate it, it's really easy to simplify it. And the simple fact is you will lose weight when you are in a caloric deficit. And that's just another way of saying, if you eat less food than your body needs, you will lose weight. It really doesn't matter what type of food you like to eat, what type of food you can afford. To prevent yourself from feeling overwhelmed, just keep eating what you're eating and then use intermittent fasting as a tool to help you eat less of it. The next place people tend to get stuck is with picking their goal weight. Now, this is actually a really important one because if you don't really pick your goal weight and you're kind of procrastinating on making that decision, then you don't really have a goal. And when you don't really have a goal, you don't really have anything to aim for. And when you don't have anything to aim for, you're not going to take those actions day in and day out that will help you lose weight. But it can seem overwhelming because you are trying to figure out, well, what's the best weight and what's ideal and what's going to be the healthiest. And again, this is one of those things you really won't know. You're going to have to get yourself to that number and figure it out. Now, in my opinion, the easiest way to get past overwhelm here is to sit yourself down with a BMI chart and to look at it based on your height and see a good weight range for yourself. And then pick a number that sounds good that's either on the high end of normal or on the very low end of overweight. Once people get in that zone, they tend to feel good about where they're at with their weight. But again, everybody's different. What helped me was to pick a number, but then make an agreement with myself that if I found that as I was approaching that number, I felt like, actually, I've lost enough, I can stop now, that was allowed. And conversely, if I had started to reach that number and I realized oh, actually I want to lose more, I could always just hit that number and then set a new goal weight. The next place is really easy to get overwhelmed is when you have a large amount of weight that you're trying to lose and it just feels like it's too much. How can you possibly lose that much weight? And I remember when I realized, in order to get myself down to a healthy weight, I really needed to lose about 70 or 80 pounds. That number felt huge to me. And so what helped me was when I finally started focusing on just the next pound. Because when I did that, when I just tried to focus on just seeing that next number lower on the scale, that always felt attainable. You know, when I was at 205, looking for a 204 to show up, felt like, yeah, that can happen. But when I was at 205 and trying to think about 150, that just felt like that's so far off. I feel overwhelmed. Just focus on just the next pound. And the last place people tend to get overwhelmed is with trying to figure out what to track and how to track. And if you're trying to lose weight, the simplest and easiest thing to do is just weigh yourself every day. If you weigh yourself every day, you're gonna have plenty of data points to let you know what's actually going on and if your plan is working or not. Tracking things like body fat percentage at this point, given our current technology, just isn't that accurate and not that helpful in my opinion. The thing about weight loss is that it's cumulative and laggy, meaning that you have to continue to take action day after day after day, consistently, before you'll see results. And so you have to be patient, and it's all about taking these little actions that accumulate over time. The problem is overwhelm can get in your way and freeze you in inaction. So I hope that this video will help you to move past any feelings of overwhelm and just get started with intermittent fasting. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Chances are, since you just watched that video, you're on the weight loss journey yourself. And I just wanted to let you know that I do have some more resources available to you. First of all, I have lots of freebies on my website, 6milestosupper.com/freebies. On that page, you can find lots of downloads and printables that will help you on the weight loss journey. And I've written 3 different books to help you through the process. Also, I have a course on Teachable, Intermittent Fasting for Weight Loss 101, and this takes you through the entire process of weight loss with intermittent fasting, from how to get started, and then how to build your plan and customize it to your own life, and finally, how to keep it off for the rest of your life. And I also offer weekly office hours so that you can get your questions answered directly by me. Also, there's the option to join this channel. When you become an insider, you get access to the vlog I do. I also hold an additional live Q&A just for members. The links to all these things are in the description.